the name of Jesus, amen.
So how are we all doing on this lovely, not winter day? Yeah, it is spring. Where's our winter at, man? I know it's still going to come every year. We're like, man, it's not cold. It's because it's still December. And it will eventually get cold. Now it's January, New Year, right? So you know what's exciting about New Year that everyone loves to do? New Year's resolutions. Everyone loves to do them. No one cares that you want to eat right or work out or read a book a month any other day. But when it's in January, it's magical. It's like, wow, you're really trying to improve yourself. We like to wait to milestones to say, this is what I want to do. You know, kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to start doing this till it's Monday because Monday's a new week, new me, new year, new me, right? So it's just kind of always funny, you know, everyone always gets excited for New Year. This is going to be the year, you know, we're so excited for 2019. Well, today's the day that God's excited for you. It's not about, you know, oh, well, now it's 2019, God's going to move in your life. Well, it's today, whatever date, put it in, God's going to move in your life. Allow Him to move in your life, and that's what He's going to do, right? I want us to open up to Isaiah chapter 54. Isaiah. Isaiah 54, Pete Jackson is going to read verse 17.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord.
Jesus, thank you, Jesus!
What an awesome scripture, right? It just starts off in the very beginning. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. What does prosper mean? Gain. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to affect me. Listen, we were singing lots of songs about saying that, you know, this is how I fight my battles. We're in a battle, right? We all know that there is a fight where the enemy wants to take us down. So no weapon, and God is saying this is from God. It said, say it, Lord, at the end. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper against you. Don't we have so much excitement of hearing that? Change the word from weapon. No sadness formed against you is going to prosper. No depression formed against you. No anxiety formed against you. No stress, no addiction, no hurt, no disbelief. Nothing formed against you, nothing the enemy can throw your way is going to prosper against you. And isn't that exciting to say? Like, you got almost like this invisible shield of you know, like a force field from Star Wars where nothing's going to come through. There's no weak point in this armor. You realize that nothing coming against us is going to hurt us as long as we're following the ways of Jesus Christ, as long as we lean on it. The only way we lose a battle is if we give up, we put up the white flag. And so many times we do, right? Like, all of a sudden we're like, oh no, it's going to work, and then we just quit and we give up. I want us to start off a few verses back. Same chapter, Isaiah chapter 54. We're going to start reading in verse 11, and we're only going to read 11 through, let's read 11 through 14.
O you afflicted one, tossed with tempest and not comforted, behold, I will lay your stones with colorful gems, and lay your foundations with sapphires. I will make you pinnacles of rubies, your gates of crystal, and all your walls of precious stones. All your children shall be taught by the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children. In righteousness you shall be established. You shall be far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near you.
Cool. So let's all flip back to the verse 11. We're going to go over. It says, O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted. That's how it starts off. Listen, God knows you're hurt, right? Who here has gone through hurt around this time, right? We hear the words, you know, the song, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It is. It's like, ask anyone, what's your favorite holiday? Oh, it's Christmas time. It's awesome. It's great. You picture the snow, the lights, and everything. It's also the most depressing time of the year. And when I say that, I'm being statistical with it. I mean, the largest amount of suicide rates are in Christmas, New Year's time. And why is it? Why do you think that is? I mean, it's just so stressful. You go 4 straight holidays and 4 straight months. You have to plan these parties, and they're all expensive. You got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Super Bowl. Yes, Super Bowl is a national holiday. But you got these 4, and it becomes so stressful, you know, where you start feeling alone. You know, it's just these jam-packed days where you really start feeling the hurt that you've had in the past year. Maybe you do some reflection. Who here has been hurt in this past year, in 2018? Who here has felt hurt? Do you realize that God feels that hurt with you? Yeah. It says it right there. It says in verse 11, "O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted." Who here has felt not comforted? I mean, God's calling it out. He's saying, like, I know you feel not comforted. I know you feel like I'm not there. I know you feel like I'm not hearing you, and I know you feel like I don't feel your hurt. But we don't have to flip there. I'm going to read out loud, and you want to write down and check. Romans 12:15 says, "Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep." When you are happy and joyful, God is happy and joyful. When you are weeping, He is there comforting and feeling those emotions with you. You realize when He died on the cross, he felt the weight of all the sins, the weight of all the misery, the weight of all of our not joy on Him at that point in time. He felt it. He felt exactly what you're feeling. When you're going through your trial, when you're going through your time, when you're feeling tempted and not comforted, that's what He felt. Don't think that, oh, He knows it. No, He actually felt it. How many times when we're trying to comfort someone, we say, I know what you're going through. And they say, no, you don't. Jesus does. He knows what you're going through. He's actually feeling what it is you're going through. So He's saying, listen, I know you're not feeling comforted. I know you're feeling this. But what's His response? Let's keep reading it in 11. It says, "Behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors." So it's going to be beautiful. And lay thy foundations with sapphires. He's building you a house. He's building you a home. He's building you a life. And it's going to be the best looking one. It's going to be the best built one. It's not just going to be good looking. How many times you go and you see this builder grade stuff where it looks nice, but it's really junk. Like, oh man, that toilet's really shiny, but it don't flush it. You know? So you look at it in verse 12, and it says, "I'll make you windows of a gate, and thy gates of carbuncles, and thy borders of pleasant stones. And thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children." Do you hear that? Your children will be raised and taught in the ways of the Lord, and there will be peace. Lord. Peace. You know, one trick that I was taught, if you're ever feeling stressed, just say the word like patience or peace. You know, just keep saying it over and over again. How can you be mad saying patience or peace? Like, you can't be screaming peace and being irritated. Just peace, 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 be still. It's just such a calming, you know. I mean, who here has felt that peace when you go through stress? I remember one time I was at work, and I put in some valves at this company that's like 2 hours away. And put in the valves. I checked it. No leaks. We're good. I went up to the main guy. I said, listen, these aren't insulated. They will sweat. Okay, cool. I go back and like coming to the shop the next morning. Well, apparently they called and said that there's a valve leaking. The valve that I put in was leaking. Now this is a big deal because this isn't a water valve. This is a glycol system. Glycol is really expensive. It's also a really bad thing to have to clean up. So the boss is screaming, yelling at me, really kind of like degrading me in a way of saying things that really just weren't true. So I load up, I get ready to go up and see what leak's going on. I'm driving up, and the whole time I'm driving up, and I'm just worshiping Jesus, and I'm just praying like, man, you're going to be the one who is going to convince my boss to see me the way I am, the way you see me, and clear whatever this stress is. And whenever I put in joints where I'm like iffy about, I'll literally plead the blood over that joint. I'm like, Jesus, don't let this leak, you know? And so I get up there, I'm like, where's the leak? Oh, it's back here. And there's a little drip, a little drip, a little drip. I look down, that's not glycol. Look up at the pipe, it's sweating. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, your pipe's sweating, it's not leaking. He's like, oh, I just saw water, and I got a little scared. Well, it's a glycol system, right? So then I called my boss to tell him there was no leak, and there was just a peace brought over me, and the boss has to tell me, hey man, you know, I'm sorry for all that, and I want you to know I'm giving you a raise. And it's like, well, that's peace being brought on to me. I'm going up there all like stressed and angry, but you know, it's just the relying on the Lord, because the Lord gave peace. The Lord clearly put it on His heart, you know, and we have that. And so when Jesus is saying this, listen, you're going through it now, but I'm going to build you something amazing. I'm going to build you a life. He means that. Listen, when you're going through the trial, I could have left that, cursing him out in my head, or I could have left there just screamed at him and just been all stink-faced driving up there. But instead I was giving unto the Lord, and the Lord took that and blessed me through it. This isn't one of those things where it's like people just say it to say it. It's a factual statement. When you were giving your life to Jesus Christ, when you're in that distress, when you're in that war, when you're in that battle, and you were trusting on Jesus Christ, dude, the enemy's not going to beat you. The enemy's already lost the fight.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
It says about raising your children. We got tons of parents. You saw the kids up here, right? And they all go downstairs. We got tons of parents. We teach them by example, and that's where it's like when it says, if you raise your kids right, they will not stray when they're older, right? That's all about leading by example. You could sit here and cram the Bible down their throat and say, well, you got to pray right now. You got to do all this. Unless you're leading by example, that's not raising them in the right ways. They can memorize 100 verses in children's church, but what are you doing at home to raise them? Because if it's saying that you raise them, that they'll have peace because they know the Lord. While they have peace, because when they go through their battles, they're going to rely on the Lord. It does not say that they're not going to go through distress. It does not say that they're not going to ever, have attacks from the enemy. Everyone's going to have them. But they're going to have peace because they're going to know who to rely on because we taught them. In verse 14, it says, in his righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression. For thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee. You hear that? You will not fear, you will not have terror, because nothing's going to come close enough to make you actually have that fear. When the attack's coming, it's far off. You can see it coming, and you know what? God's going to swoop in and take care of it. There is no reason to fear. There's no terror. There's no oppression. Isn't that amazing to say that there's going to be no oppression coming against you? And again, don't take that as if I'm saying there's not going to be attacks. There's going to be attacks, you're going to feel beat down. But that's where we just got to trust in the Lord, knowing it's not going to prosper against me. So he tells us this. He tells us he's going to turn around. Let's read verses 15 and 16. It says, behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I created the waster to destroy. You hear that? What is that? What's the point of him saying that? So he comes out and he says that anyone coming against you, they will fall when they come against you. Then it says that he's the one who made the man who's forging the weapon. He's the one who made the enemy who's coming up against you. Why is he telling you that? Because in verse 17, let's read it again. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Stop right there. That's why. The man who made the weapon, God made. The materials to make the weapons, God made. So if he made it, how can he not control it? How can he not stop it? How can he not protect you from it? Because when it comes, he's the creator of it. When the enemy is coming, he created that person. When the enemy is coming, he created them. And he will keep you safe from it. And it says that every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment and shall condemn, this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. For their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. So say it with me again. No weapon formed against me, no depression formed against me, no anxiety, no stress, no anger, no oppression, no pain will bring me down, no hurt, no attack, no temptation, no addiction, nothing, no lie from the enemy is going to prosper against me. Lord, thank you, Jesus. Who here knows who Tim Donaghy is? Nice, cool. So he was an NBA referee, all right? So when he was a referee in the NBA, he was very much involved with organized gambling. So he would fix games. Maybe a guy comes in, well, there goes that technical foul. I won't call it. Or maybe I'll call it on this team. He would purposely call calls on a team that he wanted to lose. So that way, however the bets were lining up, that's who they would pick. So they were fixed. He was fixing games. And when I got caught, he got fired. So we look at it a lot of times with like boxing. A lot of people say boxing is fake, right? Like in the aspect of a lot of times you see an underdog by like 14-1 odds end up somehow winning, and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then you see a whole bunch of people get rich. Fights can be fixed, right? We are fighting in a fixed fight. What does that mean? It's guaranteed. We already know the outcome. Satan, in the end of the day, is going to be going to hell. Yes. Regardless, right? At the end of the day, whether he brings people down with him or not, Satan is going to hell. The fight is fixed. It's over. We already know who won. We like to have this like mindset as if it's like God and Satan are in this like tug-of-war match and it's so evenly matched. It's not, man. It said the fall was like that of lightning. You know, and it's funny because people get scared of lightning, right? We all shrivel up when we hear thunder and stuff. If you saw the lightning, it didn't hit you. There's no reason to be scared, right? Like when we get so scared of lightning, if you see it, it didn't hit you. So we like to put stupid fears in our mind as if like the enemy has power over us, but with Jesus Christ, he has no power against us. The fight is fixed. And that makes you think of it too. So imagine, and this was from the words of Tim Tebow. So he was describing to us how if you went into a game and you were told your team, the game's fixed, okay, it's a football game. It's fixed, your team's going to win. And then the other team scores a touchdown in the first quarter. Scores a second touchdown, third touchdown, fourth touchdown, fifth. Scores 7 touchdowns, and they're up 49-0. Would you be sweating? No, you wouldn't be sweating. You know the game's fixed. At some point, you're going to make an amazing comeback. Great Cinderella stories in the script. It's like whenever you watch any football movie, and the one player sits on the sideline and he's all mad. And you know eventually he's going to come back. They're going to win the game. You really don't need to get that many emotionally involved. You're not going to get upset when they're losing. But that doesn't mean, even though Satan knows where he's going to go and knows that he lost the fight, that he's not going to try. How many times do you see, sorry, some in sports, but how many times do you see it in sports where a team that is out of the playoffs fight and beat a team that's trying to go into the playoffs, and it's a pointless game. They're just playing spoiler. They're going to train just as hard. So Satan wants to bring you down. Even though he knows that he is done and he knows his eternal life, he wants to bring your eternal life into question. He wants to bring you down. He's going to try everything. He studies you, man. He studies you just like with film. He knows what makes you weak. He knows what you're tempted by. He knows, what people in your life are going to really hurt you. That's where you see so many people have issues with their family, right? Where, oh man, I was so close with this person and they just come up against me. That's why you see so many stresses where you go outside, oh, the car's not starting, and then that stresses boil up, and that's when people are starting to fall away from God, because that's when they let their flesh come in. And that's all the enemy wants. He knows our addictive habits, right? He knows if I struggle with something that, boom, he's going to keep trying to pop that up into my space, so that way I will try to turn away. He knows what makes us weak and makes us tick, and that's why we need to rely on God for the strength, because we ourselves without God are no match. But with God, we have it. He said it, no weapon formed against us. Isn't that great to think that when enemy comes, no matter what, God's got you, man.
Amen.
Amen.
Woo! Yes.
All right, if you could turn to Luke 10:19. Luke 10:19.
Behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you.
You hear that? Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. When the children of Israel got out of the wilderness, their clothes weren't even scuffed. Like when they were crossing the Red Sea, there was no injured, there were no sick, they were in perfect health. Nothing. Could you imagine? Scorpions are scary little creatures. I don't know why God made them. They have these pinching, they're like half lobsters. They got 8 legs, so they're kind of like a spider. And they got this poison, stabber on its tail. Why would they? And they're tiny, so they can sneak in boots. They can hide anywhere. I don't know what his purpose of making them were, but it was not to be interacting with Kyle. So, and they're hard, on the outside too. They're not soft and squishy, so something like stepping on them would just, up and kill them. So if you think about it, it's saying that you will tread. So you're going to walk all around serpents, so these poisonous snakes biting it. I don't have issues with snakes; those aren't scary. But scorpions, and they're going to be all around you, and they're not going to hurt you. Dude, if I put a scorpion and I said it's poisonous right in front of you, every single one of us would be kind of backing up. And, we might say, oh yeah, I'll poke it. But then you see that tail start coming at you, you're going to move your hand away, right? But it's saying that you're going to be going all over the power of the enemy. So all the power that Satan can muster up and bring up against you, You're going to be able to walk through it, and by no means are you going to be hurt. This is scriptural. This is speaking it straight to us. Let's now go to 1 Corinthians 10:13. 1 Corinthians 10:13. What does that say?
No temptation has overtaken you, except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it.
There have no temptation taken you, but such is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above what you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Have any of us ever done escape rooms before? They're a lot of fun. They lock you in a room and you got to find puzzles and clues, and sometimes you got to knock on walls or whatever, but there's always a way out. They don't do something that's impossible to find. This is the same thing with us. When God tempts us, and listen to what I'm saying, He gives the enemy permission to bring temptation to us. He only allows enough that we can handle. So whenever we sit here and we think, this is too hard for me, not by God's eyes. God said, no, He's got it. She's got it. You can overcome this. You can overcome, this season that you're in, the depression that's being upon you, the hurt, the family struggle that is on your life right now. God is saying, they can get through it. He gives a way out through Him, man. And there's no denying that. So whenever we're going through a season, we think, man, it's just too hard. I don't know why God's doing this. Smite me, you almighty smiter. It's not so. God is giving it to you because He believes in you. If you're being attacked because you're doing something good in God's eyes, and that might sound kind of like counterproductive, but if you're being attacked and doing something good in God's eyes, and the enemy wants to bring you down, so He's going to heaven. Literally, the enemy will go to heaven, talk to God, and say, put your name in there. So he'll say, Kyle O'Connell, your servant right here. I think that if I tempt him with this, he'll fail you. And God has so much faith in you that He says, go ahead, go for it, tempt him with that. I believe that He will make it through. And isn't that awesome to think that God has that much faith in us?
Jesus, thank you.
Let's turn to Job chapter 1. A lot of times in our lives, it's one of those things, but a lot of times in our lives we wait to the end to react. The worst kind of fighter you could be is a reactor. Waiting for that guy to swing and, okay, well that's when I'm going to do something. Or you're constantly waiting for their movement so you can act as an defense. That's the worst kind of fighter you can be. Because what's going to happen? You're going to get hit, you're going to get pummeled, you're going to get destroyed. Could you imagine acting that way in a battle, in a real life battle, in a wartime? But we act like that in everything. We like to say everything's okay. You hear a noise when you're sleeping in bed, and you're like, that must have been the cat. I swear it's the cat. You lie to yourselves, or you put the covers over yourself, and you're like, well, if I just pretend like I'm asleep, nothing's really going to be there because I can't hear it, right? And as if someone breaking in, you sleeping is going to make them say, oh, okay, I'm going to leave here now. We like to say nothing really is going on. We like to make it seem as if there's not a problem till the last second. Once it hits that last second, then all of a sudden we're turned to God. We can't wait till we're in the battle and getting punched to say, wait, time out, I want to put on the armor of God now. Right? We got to be ready. We got to have the armor on at all times. Listen, if you're waking up and you're saying, Kyle, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling fantastic, put on the armor of God. Because when that battle comes, again, you can't say, time out, I want to put on my armor. It's like two kids when they fight. You're like, hold on, I want to get my sword. Or when it drops, we have to be sure that we are wise with that. Imagine if you saw a soldier and they were biting their fingernails and their guns laying on the ground, and then the enemy comes in. What's going to happen to that soldier? You're going to have a dead soldier. You got to be standing ready whether there's battle or not. So in Job chapter 1, we're going to talk about some of the things that the enemy uses, against us. And you might be thinking that your problems are individual to you. But Job chapter 1, all right, I'm going to start off with verse 9, and it says, Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still remain in thy integrity? Curse God and die. Alright, so I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. So Job loved his family, alright? I'm sorry, that was 2:9. That was 2:9, not 1:9. But Job loved his family. So what ended up happening, he has a family, and none of them are following God. But Job is known as a righteous man, and he would end up giving sacrifices for his family. He cared about nothing else more other than God, about his family, you know? So the enemy comes in, and he says to God, you know, if I took away his family, his land, and everything, he would curse you. So God says, okay, but you can't harm him. You know, you can't harm Job. You can do whatever you want, just don't harm Job. So he goes in, he kills all his sons and daughters. He goes in and kills all his cattle, destroys everything. Big sob story. But there was one person in Job's family Satan left alive, and that was his wife. Now for me, that'd be like the best blessing ever if my wife was still left alive. For Job, this was the biggest curse ever. I mean, after he goes through all this stuff, and after his whole family's dead, he ends up getting leprosy all over him. He has these boils and sores. His wife comes up to him, instead of comforting him and saying, Job, it's okay, have faith. She says, then said his wife unto him, Does you still remain with your integrity? Curse God and die. So she wasn't just saying curse God, she was saying curse God and die. Why don't you just die and go to hell is what she's saying to him. Like, there's a reason Satan left his wife, because his wife was a nasty lady. And he knew exactly what he was doing when he planned that. So what happened? You know, Job loved his family. It's all dead and gone. So the enemy's attacking. The only one left was his wife. You know, so that's his specific weapon. His specific weapon that was forged against him was his nasty wife and his dead family. What is our specific weapon that's formed up against us? Let's see some other good ones. Let's talk about Mordecai, right? We're not going to flip there. But Mordecai, you know, the story of Esther, we all learned it in children's church. You know, for everyone who's like me and wasn't saved as a child, I'm going to give you a little quick note on this whole story. So Esther becomes queen, Mordecai's her cousin, and so this guy Haman, he's second in charge. He's number 2 to the king, and he hates Mordecai. So he wants to kill him. He wants to kill him and all the Jews. So he builds up a 90-foot gallows. What's a gallows? It's what you hang people in. So it's 90 foot. Why do you want to build it 90 foot? Because he wanted everybody in the city and the surrounding cities to see this man of God hanging in embarrassment. So this was the weapon that was forged up against him. A man who was only second to the king. So what happens? The king literally gives him permission to go and kill Mordecai and all the Jews, not knowing that his wife is a Jew too. So he gives permission, and so Haman's all excited, he gets pumped up, the gallows get built. So if you're Mordecai, you can visibly see the gallows being built. It's built up, you see your death right in front of you. Any of us would be like, time to leave, right? I'm out of here, I don't need to be here. So what ends up happening is the wife, you know, tells the king, and the king ends up having Haman hung on those gallows instead. No weapon formed against him was going to prosper.
That's right.
What is our specific? You know, we look at the children of Israel. As they're getting ready to cross the Red Sea, real quick, the Red Sea would look like a big weapon against us. Well, now we're stuck here to die. Then it parts, and they start walking across, and they walk across the dry land, and then the pillar of fire goes away. So now all the Egyptians have a clean shot at them. That's scary. That's the world's most formidable army coming at you right there. And you're all in perfect health and all, but that's an army. You know, you're not packing a whole bunch of weapons. You're carrying gold and other animals just to get across. So what does God do? He tells Moses to raise his rod, and the sea crashes down on it. No weapon formed against them was going to prosper. Listen, you could see an army against you. You could see the whole world against you. It's not going to prosper because God's got you. Having that faith in God and obeying what He's called us to do, that's what's going to do.
Yes.
And, you know, it's cool with water because water is the most destructive thing in the world, right? Like, you look at the Delaware Water Gap. That was one mountain at one point. At one point in time, that was one mountain. And you see it from across, come all the way down. That is just the years and years and years of the river running down, and the wind and the snow just eating at those rocks. So what are we called to do? Because I told you, you're going to get attacked. Picture that mountain. That mountain still stands, you know? Picture even like a shore where it's a cliff. The ocean wave is constantly hitting it. It is constantly being beat, constantly being attacked. but it still stands there. That cliff is still there. And that's how we need to be, knowing that when the attacks are going to come, it's not going to prosper against us. It's not going to push forward. We are going to be cemented, stood fast in our foundation of Jesus Christ. Isn't that exciting to think that you have that foundation? That no matter what power the enemy is going to be coming against you, the most dangerous elements coming up against you, you are going to stand. It doesn't mean you're not going to get hit. It's not mean that there's not going to be scars. But you are going to stand firm on that foundation.
Lord. Thank you, God.
The last scripture I want us to go to is going to be Matthew chapter 16, verse 18.
And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
So you heard that?
Lord.
The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. He's changed name Peter, put your name in it. You know, he said, listen, Kyle, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the hell shall not prevail against it. The gates of hell. This is what God built to be the most torturous thing for the fallen angels and for Satan. That will not prevail against you if you are with Jesus Christ. If you have God in your heart, the gates of the fiery hell will not burn you. You realize that? Like, it doesn't matter where your church is. It doesn't matter where you are. You could say, well, I'd be a better Christian if I was here in my life. I'd be a better Christian if I had more time. If I had more time to do my word, I had more time to pray. I'd be a better Christian if I wasn't going through all these hardships. I don't care if you're planted right at the gates of hell. It will not prevail against you. Because wherever you are, God has put you there for a reason. If you're going through something, listen, there's a lot of people, you know, whether it's sicknesses, deaths, God has put that in your life for a reason, man. Aside from the fact that 10 out of 10 people will die, He put it there for a reason. So that way you can cope with it. That way you can use it for ministry time to help other people's coping with it. Or maybe it's something to bring a revelation to you. I'm not God's answer. But God has allowed anything that is coming against you, He has allowed because He is there to help you and be that shield. Don't we want that shield? We want that, right? We want that armor on us. We want that protection. We want to know that when a weapon comes against us, it will not prevail. We want to know that when the enemy comes up, we're not going to be shaken because we are on that foundation. Right? So I'm going to close us in prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, I thank you for all that you do. Right now I'm just praying that you can bless us. Let us do your will today. Let us be strong today, right? Like, let us not be wavered by anything that the world wants to bring us, whether it's pressure from other people or just even our own fleshly desires. Let us just be ready to do your will today. Let us be a light as we leave these buildings. A light to our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. Our light to the souls out there that you love just as much, Lord Jesus. You love them so much and you called for us to go out there. Jesus, I'm praying that we can see you as the Jesus of today, not a Jesus of yesterday, not a Jesus of tomorrow. So many times we focus on the past and when you're going to be coming again, Lord Jesus. But let us focus on you being the Jesus Christ today. Your word says that you were the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let us know that today. Let us be that today. Let us do your will today. Let's not focus on the big plan, but focus on what your will is today. And I praise your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.